President Biden calls her his closest friend. Norah O'Donnell talks with the first sister, Valerie Biden Owens.
I do love hearing about your own career and your work on the campaigns, that you've been described as an iron fist in a cashmere glove.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah. I like that. I'll take that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to comment on that? I'll just say thank you.
Yeah.
I better leave it alone.
Valerie Biden Owens may have the message control her big brother Joe sometimes lacks, but that doesn't mean she's afraid to speak her mind.
What was the code word that the Secret Service gave you?
Oh, hurricane. I took that as a compliment, that I was a force of nature, but I was a good hurricane.
And how have you been a force of nature for Joe Biden?
I've been a sister. That's what you have at the end of everything. You go to family.
Family is at the heart of her life story, now a memoir, Growing Up Biden. The book is populated by her parents and three brothers, who she calls Jimmy, Frankie, and one who may look familiar, Joey. Since age 25, she's led her brothers 7 Senate races.
Can you all hear me? Because I wouldn't want you to miss a word of what I was saying.
And first 2 bids for the presidency. Valerie Biden was the first female presidential campaign manager.
After years of success, you were often up against people who thought a woman couldn't or shouldn't run a political campaign.
I had it a lot easier than some women because my brother pulled up a chair to the table, which was men. So this is my sister. She speaks for me. What she says, assume that I say it.
My sister really did manage my campaign. No PR firm. My sister managed it for real.
But then I had to go it on my own.
Would there be a President Joe Biden without Valerie Biden?
Oh, sure. Joe is president because he's Joe. Mm-hmm. And I will always be the president's sister.
That's your Catholic humility.
The campaign that cemented the Biden legend was Joe's 1972 Senate run. His unexpected victory was followed by unspeakable tragedy. A car accident that killed his wife Nelia and 13-month-old daughter Naomi. Sons Bo and Hunter were badly injured.
The president said of you, she has not only believed in me, she helped me believe in myself.
We did the improbable, winning this Senate race by 3,163 votes. And we had this young, promising Democratic star who was now a young widower with his heart ripped out. And he said, the boys cannot get another father, the state of Delaware can get another senator. That's when my belief in Joe was so powerful that he could do both. I said, Joe, you gotta do it, because my brother's is about purpose, and he needs a purpose.
The crisis gave new purpose to Valerie, too.
You quit your job, you moved in, you became like a parent.
In spite of the tragedy, it was really a magnificent time. Bo and Hunt were 2 and 3 years old. And I remember every day saying, I promise you, Nelia, I'll love them like they're my own.
She eventually married Joe's law school friend, Jack Owens, and has 3 kids of her own, as well as a career as a campaign strategist and advocate for women. Today, at age 76, she chairs the Biden Institute at the University of Delaware, her and her brother's alma mater.
What does the Biden Institute do?
Well, we try to educate the next generation of young leaders.
We got to stand up and we got to fight.
The 2020 campaign was the first she didn't manage for her brother. It was also the first she didn't want him to enter.
I believed that 2020 would be a bloody battle. The former president would stop at nothing. And the best way to go after Joe would be go after the family.
By the way, where's Hunter?
My expectations were exceeded, but Joe said, I'm doing it.
She writes Joe was the right person at the right time to lead our country.
The campaign had practiced that Vice President Biden wouldn't respond.
Wouldn't take his bait.
He doesn't
You're
want
a
to answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
wouldn't you answer that question?
But then he told him to shut up.
Yeah.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen.
So there's a time and a place, and it was like enough. I was really thrilled. I don't speak for the American people, but I think many of them said, yeah, this is a bully. Stop.
A brighter future.
Plain talk has its place on the campaign trail, but this past week, The world focused on 9 unscripted words about Vladimir Putin.
This man cannot remain in power.
Some called it a gaffe. Some people called it the unvarnished truth.
First of all, when anybody says Joe's a gaffe is he speaks the truth. Joe had just come from spending the afternoon with moms and their children that have been families destroyed. That's Joe. He knows what grief and that pain is.
Do you want Joe Biden to run for president again in 2024?
Yeah. I think he's the right person at the right time for the right job. So watch us.
He'll be in his 80s.
Watch him.
So why would Joe Biden want to run for president again when he could come back here?
Because he has things still to do.
And he has the stamina to do that.
Yes, he does. Yeah. He's good. It's not easy raising an older brother.